Imagine a world without the hum of a refrigerator. On a hot July morning, there's no chilled milk, no cold drinks, and leftovers are a gamble. Until recently, this was daily life for most Americans. Preserving food was a constant struggle. Bacteria were the enemy, and every meal was a race against time. Kitchens were labs of salting, smoking, and pickling, not just places to cook. The seasons dictated what you ate and when. A sudden heat wave could ruin your week's food. Shopping was a daily necessity, not a weekly convenience. Stocking up was impossible. Freezers and ice cream were science fiction. People relied on instinct and tradition, knowing when milk would turn, how much salt to use, which apples would last. This wasn't quaint folklore, it was survival. Without refrigeration, food knowledge was technology, passed down through generations. Every decision about food could mean the difference between comfort and hunger. The cold box changed everything, but before it, survival depended on wisdom and vigilance. Before electricity, people found cold where nature made it: ice. The 19th century saw the rise of the icebox, a wooden cabinet with a compartment for a block of ice insulated with sawdust or cork. Ice was harvested from frozen lakes in winter, cut into blocks and stored in massive ice houses. The Iceman delivered these blocks door to door, a familiar sight in American neighborhoods. The icebox slowed spoilage, letting families keep milk and butter fresh for a day or two. It was messy and inconsistent, but for those who could afford it, it was a miracle. The temperature hovered around 40 degrees, enough to slow but not stop bacteria. You had to empty the drip pan daily and be home for deliveries. Still, the icebox was a revolution. Cold drinks, preserved food, and a taste of modern convenience. It was the first step in breaking free from the tyranny of temperature. The icebox changed how people ate, shopped, and lived, but it was only the beginning. Before iceboxes, the pantry was the front line in the fight against spoilage. Salt and vinegar were the heroes. Salt for meat, vinegar for vegetables. Salting drew out water, stopping bacteria. Pickling made food too acidic for microbes. Hams and bacon were packed in salt, vegetables submerged in tangy brine. These methods turned fleeting harvests into year-round staples. The flavors were bold, salty, sour, intense, shaping the American palate. Pickles, sauerkraut, and relishes added variety to otherwise bland winter meals. Preservation wasn't about gourmet food, it was about survival. Salt and vinegar made the difference between feast and famine. These techniques were born of necessity, not luxury. They're a testament to human ingenuity in making food last. Before machines, people used the earth itself to keep food cool. Root cellars, dug into hillsides or underground, stayed cool and damp year-round. Potatoes, apples, and cabbages could last for months in these natural refrigerators. Spring houses, built over cold running water, kept milk and butter fresh a little longer. These spaces were the heart of the farm, preserving food through the seasons. The earth's steady coolness was a quiet ally in the battle against spoilage. No electricity, just clever use of nature. Root cellars and spring houses were practical, sustainable, and essential. They remind us how closely people once worked with the land to survive. Another ancient defense against spoilage was removing water, through drying and smoking. Fruits and vegetables were sliced and dried in the sun. Meat was salted, then smoked in small sheds. Smoke added flavor and created a protective layer, while drying made food lightweight and long-lasting. Smoked hams and sausages could last a year or more, their flavors deepening over time. These methods didn't just preserve food, they transformed it. The taste of smoked meat or dried apples is the taste of survival. Drying and smoking shaped American cuisine and expectations. The smokehouse and drying lines were as vital as any kitchen. Preservation was both necessity and tradition. Milk was the trickiest food to keep, fresh one moment, sour the next. Most families drank it right after milking, the rest became butter or cheese. Churning cream into butter and pressing curds into cheese turned perishable milk into lasting food. Salted butter and aged cheese could be stored for weeks or months. Scalding milk, heating it to kill bacteria, bought a little extra time. Nothing was wasted. Leftover milk, meat, and vegetables went into a simmering pot, creating ever-changing meals. These strategies were about more than thrift, they were about safety. Butter and cheese were culinary alchemy, turning risk into security. Every step, from churning to aging, was designed to keep food edible. Dairy preservation was a daily challenge met with creativity and care. For all their ingenuity, root cellars and iceboxes were hard work. The true revolution came with the electric refrigerator, a quiet hum that changed everything. Early fridges were expensive and unreliable, but the 1920s brought safer, mass-produced models. The monitor top and freon made refrigerators practical and safe for most homes. By the 1940s, the Iceman was history, and the fridge was a kitchen staple. Refrigeration freed families from daily food chores and made weekly shopping possible. Leftovers became a convenience, not a problem. The American diet expanded: fresh salads, frozen desserts, and year-round produce. Foodborne illness dropped, and kitchens were redesigned around the fridge. Today we take this miracle for granted. The root cellar is a wine cellar, the smokehouse a barbecue, the refrigerator's greatest gift, letting us forget how hard life once was without it. But remembering that struggle helps us appreciate the cold comfort we now enjoy.